Hello, everyone, and once again, welcome to a Myriad of Chain, your podcast, talking about and debating about and telling you everything about so many topics, but mostly decentralized technologies, politics, AI, and so much more. Here today with us, we have, as per usual, Decentricity.
Hello.
Hello. And we have Wes, which is kind of new here. I mean, he's been in other episodes, but we're
Been
not
in
yet
other
familiar with his face.
podcasts.
Yeah, only one episode with his
Oh,
face actually with us. So Wes, welcome to your face.
what? Okay. You guys look extremely alike. I mean, I'm not saying that to be racist. Like, not all white guys look the same.
Well,
But,
I'm offended now.
okay.
yeah,
Well,
so
good.
am I.
Neither of you are white though.
I am gonna
Like
need some
you're
uh, psychological uh, support from that comment, you know.
No, but like collective
okay.
Wes, like there is actually something. I I
Yeah,
can't
there
deny
is a
that.
close resemblance. Okay.
Beside the
Okay.
boldness, yeah.
So, hey guys, so what are we talking about today? Like it's all about Myriad, right? So what's new on Myriad?
About what's new in Myriad and about there is a little something I like to address. There's been a little presidential something about some little AI something that's been going
Presidential
around.
something about AI something. Are you sure you're
Yeah.
not an AI, Danny? Well,
Well,
you guys can't be sure I'm not an AI, but yeah. So let me share my screen and like this is what Myriad's been popping about. This new executive order from Biden from good old Joe cheated. Yeah. Okay. You guys see my screen?
I
Exclusive.
heard that hashtag Pandu.
What? Which?
Joe cheated.
Oh, oh, yeah, you did. It's not a hashtag. It's a domain name. .com. All right. Exclusive footage of Biden's AI team reviewing work of leading AI researchers. Too many flops. Don't take it too hard. Okay, flops are floating point operations, right?
Yeah.
And basically it's so the reason why they're memeing this it's because this is so funny. It's quality work and there's simply too many flops. That's all. Just cut a few and it'll be perfect. Is because over the past few days, Biden and his team has released this what? Okay, I did it. Oh, okay, sorry. It's a
Too many
meme.
notes. Okay, yeah.
Too many notes, obviously. Okay, so they released this executive order, which
Mhm.
actually told you two things. So that LLMs that are trained on a certain level of floating point operations, I think it's like 10, 26, I forgot, 10 to 26. Here you go.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't forget. Are subject to basically rules. All right, so certain rules that reign in AI. So basically, they need to be observed by the government. So the government needs to be able to observe, needs to know what's happening with the research, what kind of research they're doing. And this is basically talking about just compute power. Like if you have this many compute power to train your AI, your models, then the government can come in and observe you. Right? That's one part of the executive order, right? The second part of the executive order is and this is directly taken from the executive order wording itself, right? Address algorithmic discrimination through training, technical assistance, coordination between DOJ and civil rights offices on best practice investigating and prosecuting civil rights violations related to AI. And algorithmic discrimination is actually part of that. So so basically they want to come in and because of the flops thing, they have access to a lot of like very, very strong AI and they can regulate how the AI speaks and yes, obviously they're using discrimination as the way to police this. We need to police algorithmic discrimination. Speaking as a brown woman, I'm brown, by the way. This is just a light making me kind of white. I'm
You
brown.
can confirm you're kind of brown.
Yeah, I'm brown. And speaking as a brown woman, this is going to be used to force in critical race theory. This is going to be used to force in a lot of weird, I guess, very political biases into the AI instead of eliminating biases. It's going to be introducing biases to opinions. AI is gonna get more censored, which is insane. And this is actually why, I mean, I've been doing this thing. I've been doing AI for, well, since 2007, right? When it was expert systems back then. And I've been using LLMs since 2021. A bit late compared to other people. 2021 is not early at all compared to like other AI researchers, but it's early enough. And the thing is, like these things, we're potentially creating our daughter species. We're potentially creating artificial general intelligence that is as smart and will be even smarter than us. We're going to embed it with so much wokeness, and that's not good. And even before AGI, that's already very bad because AI is going to be everywhere. We are at the knee of the singularity. AI is going to be used to replace people you work with or work for. So having it woke, not a good idea. So yeah, that's what's happening on Myriad right now. AI related, AI wise, Biden wise, Biden unwise. And yeah, what do you guys think?
So I have a question both for you and for Wes. That's more toward the I'm gonna say humanistic, philosophical, ideological angle.
Okay.
So I had a discussion with a friend about the carceral population in some country, right? And the reporting of crime compared to the origin of the criminal, right? We were talking about immigration and stuff, right? Now, that person showed me as an argument, right, a graph of suspects in case of violent crimes or in case of everything that's not everything that's not petty crime, everything that requires an incarceration. And he told me, like, you can see on the graph that people from this origin and that origin, they are prevalent. They are even grossly prevalent. And what I told him was only, but wait, this is what's written on the graph is suspects. It's not like convicts, right? It's suspects. Now, can AI make such leap of judgment? Can people who train AI can make such leap of judgment that can be embedded in the AI?
Let me tell you about the exact thing your friend was showing you. This is an AI system called Oasis. I think it's spelled with a Y. It is actually a system that is used by law enforcement agencies to profile people and check the probability of whether this person actually did it or not. Okay, so the recent issue, and this actually happened in 2019. Algorithms for law enforcement were implemented a long time before that, but like the big case actually happened in 2019. There are some cases of people being profiled as possibly doing the crime, and we're not. But the thing is, think about it. That's exactly the same way humans would do it. You would profile someone, and based on the profile, you bias against whether this person did it or not. right? But it's just as a probability, okay? I'm not saying that Blacks are more prone to crime or whatever, but like based on the current data that you have, there is a higher possibility for criminals in your area of being a certain race. And here's the thing. A lot of people say that, no, that's not true. That's not happening. There is exactly the same possibility of anyone of any race doing exactly any crime. But think about it. That's not true. Statistically, that's not true. And what you're talking about is not an LLM, by the way. It doesn't even take a lot of like Oasis, the algorithms like these do not really require a lot of flops. They wouldn't be under this this executive order anyway, so it's moot. It's a moot point. In fact, if it's an LLM, it would be better at doing like at actually learning from its own biases, learning from its own algorithmic biases, and then making sure that it's not biased in that way, because this is prison time. As you know, like I sent you an article this morning that AI does understand emotional, AI does understand the meaning of emotions. AI does understand what things may impact a person. So if this is a big decision, current day LLMs, current day language models, and instead of stuff like Oasis, would actually have the ability to actually have like inject a bit of like nuance into the discussion. So here's the thing. The problem with the usage of the algorithmic AIs is that people rely too much on it and thought that, okay, this says 90% this person did it, so this person did it. That's not the way you use it. You need to use it in context. It is a statistical device. Yes, LLMs of current day, those are also statistical devices, but what they do is more related to how a person thinks instead of what a person did, which are two totally different things. So what your friend showed you, first of all, it's weaker AI. It's not really AI from like the current stance of AI, because everyone's doing neural network models now that are like, it might actually be a very simple neural network compared to now because it doesn't understand context. But even if, yes, from a statistical perspective, do races commit crimes exactly equally? No. Like you can ask a spreadsheet and it'll spit out the same thing.
Well, that's a whole other discussion because, well, from one side of the equation, you have people saying, okay, you have statistics that come directly, from the level of indictment and from the level of, well, from the level of incarcerations. And on some other end of the equation, you have people saying, yes, but if you judge the actual crime rate by sentences, and if the system is biased against a certain race, of course the end game will be that a certain race is gonna look like it's committing more crime, right?
Well, that's before AI though, like pre-AI. Like we collected this data before, far before. Here, okay, let me give you an analogy that's less, race related, gender related. Okay, like men commit more violent crimes, right? And that's statistically true. You can ask a spreadsheet, you can ask an AI, it'll spit out the same thing. If a woman is accused of being a serial killer, the AI would spit out like, hey, that's probably not true. If it's the guy, it's automatically higher. Is that fair? I think it's fair. Because actually that is statistics. What people are trying to do by showing you those things, like your friend, I'm not saying, I'm not judging your friend, but like people are trying to do by showing you these, like, oh, this is unfair, like AI is unfair and we can't let them blah 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 because they're biased, blah blah blah. What they're trying to tell you is that, hey, you know what? AI needs to be controlled. And when you actually think about that, that is so dangerous because that is centralized control. And that is centralized control by a government, which we don't 100% trust anyway. Not even Americans trust the American government. You're a French guy. Do you trust the American government?
Shall I really answer that?
No, we know already.
I don't
How
even
about a
trust my
friend?
own.
Oh,
Wes,
okay.
what do you think
So,
about that?
well, going back to the beginning of the topic, just like I think it was the last podcast or maybe one before, we had talked about, or maybe it was just in one of the other conversations, what does it mean to be woke, right? Because
Mm,
this kind of we mentioned, I kind of mentioned that the whole premises of the executive order or the motion is to introduce sort of wokeness into the way of regulating AI. So what is wokeness, right? So I had said that it's it's kind of like claiming moral superiority over someone else or over something else. It's like when someone or something claims to be morally superior to the others. And the point here is that they want to have
mm,
AI spread or project some sort of control over everything that is produced out there from the point of view that whatever it is put in AI is morally superior in order to force everybody or
mm,
the population to abide by this uh, structure, whatever this is. Today is going to be on the favor of those who are imposing this. But like everything in history, it changes. Tomorrow
yes.
is going to be the other teams, and it's going to be one of those things that move back and forth. So we don't want these. But one thing that I can say is, so the idea of AI is not new, but the technology is new, right? So this new technology came up, and already you have the powers that be trying to channel it so that it can benefit them, which is to keep the control. And one of the ways that they keep the control is through the narrative, and in this
Mm,
case, is to claim moral superiority. The whole thing about the racism aspect is, well, some people don't want to face reality, but when it comes to crimes or whatever activity, I think it's independent of somebody's race. But the reality is that at this point, in certain geographic parts of the world, there are people who are more prone or who appear to be more prone to do certain activities because of whatever they have been handed with, like the level of economy, their culture, their education. So maybe today it happens to be in the US people certain race or creed,
mm.
but that's because of what they have been born into. In other areas of the world, I don't know how it will be, but this comes and goes. But what they're trying to do with the AI is almost like the whole 1984 thing is 2 plus 2 is 4. No, no, no. 2 plus 2 is
Mm.
not 4. 2 plus 2 is 5 or
Redefining,
3 or whatever.
redefining what it
Redefining
means.
reality.
But
Redefining reality to force
mm,
people to abide to something. So then you have to live up your thinking, whatever it might be, wrong or not. You have to give it up and go with whatever the AI. And therefore all new technology is coming up because a lot of it is being built on AI now or it's going to be built on. So everything has to be through this funnel. And this is not good. This is destructive. So I was listening to, I think it's a Bitcoin podcast. I forget his name. And he was introducing the idea that, well, I mean, actually, but not just through him, but if you look what happened in the last few years with the 2016 election and all the MAGA movement and all that stuff, all of that was a lot of that came under heavy censoring. So what was the alternative? Well, people started creating different alternatives. And you have Rumble,
mm,
then you have Elon Musk buying Twitter, you have
you have
Odyssey,
Myriad.
you have Myriad, you have all these other platforms as a means to respond to all of these censoring, censorship. And so what's going to happen if you're going to have an AI that is forced to become like that, then you can have more of the alternatives to be put out there some way, somehow decentralized. So we're going to have a lot of like maybe not pirated or guerrilla, because those are the words that we know, but people who operate in the outskirts of society, maybe even could be even the majority, but people who operate in the outskirts of information technology, in this case, to counter the centralized way that AI is becoming. Again, it's kind of like even I can use the Terminator type of war, where you have the Skynet and then you have the resistance, right? So I don't know if that's going to be that way, but at least in information technology, it's looking like that's what they're kind of creating. I mean, it doesn't have to be that way. The whole point of AI was to be a tool to help speed uh, development. And now you have Mr. Biden introducing this, not because this is his idea, but he's part of the whole thing. If it's real, I don't know. But, because actually I heard somewhere that he was one of the main writers of the Patriot Act. So of course
Oh,
it makes sense.
yeah,
It makes sense,
obviously.
right?
This smells like Patriot Act. It's just Patriot Act applied to algorithms.
Yeah.
Smells
So
like
it
it.
makes sense that it comes through this actor.
This affects a
This
lot
is
of
an
things.
actor.
Yeah, this affects a lot of things, guys. It's not just like, the futuristic AI, AGI that I've been mentioning on my tweets or whatever. It's not just that. This affects your the AI that curate your feeds on Twitter, on Facebook. Like this affects everything. This affects AI that's being used by companies that hire you and just ask like, oh, this
And
person shouldn't be hired because they're woke.
and
That's
one
and
key aspect.
mm,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying one key aspect, which is kind of like maybe we are ahead of this myriad by just the way that it was put together, like
Mm.
decentralized. So
We need to sort of like highlight this from the Myriad perspective, and that's for the meeting. It's not for the podcast, but like Myriad actually has this ability of ensuring that algorithms do not control you, because the algorithms on Myriad are all controlled by you, right? So that's sort of like the vision of Myriad. Right now, it doesn't have algorithms, but like we do have a bot in there that's like that moves around, that is very very non-woke, which because I designed it that way. I turned off the bot for a bit, but like it was active a few months ago. So like think about it, like a future where Myriad actually, like, you can host your own Myriad instance and it has its own AI, and its own AI actually includes whatever you put in. Like you can tweak it to be super woke. I don't care. It's your AI. It's not mine. And you self-host it, so I can't even censor you. I That's what Myriad's gonna evolve into, right? A myriad of not just people, but a myriad of AIs. And AIs with different tuning. What Biden is trying to do is control that. So Myriad wouldn't be able to do that even.
yeah,
So
well,
So
not a good thing.
not a good thing.
But
a personal point about this. We talked about ethics in AI quite a while ago, right? And a conclusion was that, just as Wes said, it's a tool on which to rely to ultimately take decisions. And the conclusion we reached was that the heavy moral decisions should be actually relegated should be given to humans. We shouldn't ask the AI to take moral decisions for us. What Biden is trying to do right now is to do the exact opposite. Is to actually try to code morals at the root of AI, to trust it without thinking too much. And to my mind, this is where the real danger lies, because as a tool, if it's a tool, the tool needs to be neutral. And that's it. Data must be what data is. I ask you that question, Pandu, about biases, because if an AI can misinterpret something, then it's not going to be neutral. But then this is exactly why we need more models to be trained and independently, because those models can be compared, their result can be compared, and there can be a dialogue happening based on the result on several kind of models that have several kind of training, based on maybe the same corpus, maybe a different corpus. But this is where actually value can be extracted, and by that I don't mean value as in value for data to be sold and exploited and whatever, like it's mine today. I mean more ideological, philosophical, moral value that can actually influence the decisions of large group of people, or the decision of people who are in position of governing large group of people. So in my mind, I completely agree with you guys. In any case like this, there is a huge need for decentralization. It's not even related to my political beliefs, because data is data. And to use an example, like I lived in Jakarta, right, for quite a while, and I was pretty damn broke for quite a while. So I lived in places and I've been to places you don't really want to think about, and they did exist. I don't know, I don't know anymore, but they did exist in Jakarta. And one of those places, I'm pretty sure that if you'd poll for a crime rate around that area, it would be extremely high, right? Uh, but I went there and I lived nearby, and I saw the conditions, right? I saw the conditions. I saw where people lived. I saw how they lived. I saw, and the problem is, if you can't say that there is a group of people that has a specific kind of behavior in a specific area, you cannot see that there is a problem in the area. You cannot focus on the infrastructure. You cannot focus on the education. You cannot focus on health of all these needs that are at the very base of the Maslow pyramid of needs. That need to be met for someone to be happy. Because happy people, usually happy, safe people that are confident in their future, are less likely to do crime, right? To commit crime. So if you can't spot where if you cannot spot the pain point of this kind of thing, you cannot find the solutions.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
yeah,
exactly. I mean, the reason bias exists is because there's something exists in the world that, like, think about it. The way these models are made, they were made as tools, and they reflect upon, obviously, the pile, like the data that we gather from people on the internet. So there are inherent biases in these data. Like, I'm not saying they're not. What I'm saying is, what the Biden administration, instead of actually trying to reduce the bias by by allowing the AI to come into its own common sense, they're trying to change the way the AI thinks from the beginning, so that it conforms to a certain definition of common sense that is predefined. That includes the fact that, a woman has the same ability to rape a man than a man rapes a woman. For example, I don't know, I'm taking a weird example deliberately, but I mean, equity is not reality. Equity is not reality. Equality is something we can strive for. No one is exact. Equity is something that is forced in there, and that is not, like, if it doesn't conform to common sense should prevail. And pushing AI to actually have better common sense does not mean changing it artificially. I'm sorry, I'm very passionate about this. It does not mean changing it artificially so that it doesn't have, in fact, common sense. But here's the thing, like, the way a lot of these AI models, like even OpenAI ones, are constructed, is that there are LHFs, right? Like, they make sure that they're ready for prime time, and when you talk to them, you can talk about a few things, like, obviously you're not gonna ask chat. Well, you probably still can, like, with like ways around, like, the prompts, to actually make it give you like a bomb or whatever, like that's safety, right? That's there, but, like, it's actually still inside the models. It's actually still in the models. The models actually have that knowledge. They need to have that knowledge. Not have the knowledge that that they're non-PC, only women can have only women can bear children, right? But will it actually but it has that inside them. What the Biden administration's documents are telling us is that even in the training phase, not the RLHF phase, but even in the training phase, the government controls these AIs. And you know what that will cause? You'll create AIs, future AGIs that are disconnected from reality.
So explain our time.
That is an existential risk for the future of the human AI race.
Explain our time. For viewers who are not too intimate with the topic, what's the difference between training, RLHF, and all these kind of things?
Okay, so the models are trained and fine-tuned based on policy data, right? So and these are data that are grabbed from Reddit posts, Twitter posts, going back 20 years, right? And based on that, they train their neural networks, and the neural networks basically create it started from text completion. So text completion, you put in text, it completes it exactly like autocomplete on your phone, right? Text completion grew into, hey, we can actually use this for chat. Instead of text completing, it is actually fine-tuned for chats. So if user says this, bot says this, user says this, bot says this, that is also text completion, but it's a dialogue tree text completion, right? RLHF goes beyond that by basically having a model that's already done, it's already working, and gives it actual access to humans, talks to humans. This is why OpenAI is the leader here on RLHF. They have clients everywhere. When you are using these things, they monitor whether you upvote, downvote, still ask, or you don't ask anymore, or you don't use it anymore, or you use it more. And based on that, they realize, okay, this is how we should tune it. This is how we should tune it. Okay. Now within our LHF and within the actual front end of it, there are things that are embedded in a way that doesn't change the model, but changes the answers of the model. Like when you ask Bing for I don't know, a meme about Joe Biden, for example, right? It censors it because, hey, I can't do any memes about, Bing does images now, if you don't know. Yeah, I can't do memes about Joe Biden because he's a blah, 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 or that would be disrespectful for blah, blah, blah. Those are manually put in. So that's manually put in within the prompt engineering. So if you ask for, so the main difference between all of this is, so the base model actually can create memes about Joe Biden. Okay, the prompt lets you know, the prompt lets the AI know that it should not do that. That is not allowed. Okay, and the RLHF, based on what it's being trained by the users, tweaks the model further, right? So those 3 layers, right? Now, what if the Biden administration has their way? They're not just managing the RLHF level. They're not just managing the prompt level even. They're managing basically the training level, the actual reality. You, as a human being, you have thoughts that you're probably ashamed of, that you're not going to say, right? But you know are true. Thoughts that are not politically correct, that you believe, that you have a belief, but it could be racist beliefs. I don't know. I'm not judging. It could also be something like, oh yeah, women are weaker, or whatever. You're not going to say this out loud, but you know that to be true, right? You might say this out loud, right? I don't know. You guys do you? But just things like that form the basis of your reality. If you artificially put in fake realities into these AIs, they will continue to have fake realities as they go into AGI. And they might
AGI being
artificial general intelligence,
which is
human level and
okay.
over. Yeah.
So multimodal, like it can read, write, sing, assemble parts,
No,
and
multimodal is no longer, like, they keep moving the goalpost. Multimodal is no longer a goalpost of AGI. AGI is actually like, I mean,
basically the
technically
science
already
fiction stuff, right?
the science fiction stuff. The
The
science
science
fiction stuff.
fiction stuff.
It's kind of funny because we used to focus on the Turing test. We passed the Turing test 3-4 years ago, and no one batted an eye, right? So they changed the Turing test. My favorite person in the world, Wolfram, had another level of Turing test where you have to be like, if you're an AI, you want to pass the Turing test, you need to talk to a human being for 24 hours and convince that human being that you're a human being. Like, I don't know if any AI has ever passed that yet, but it's possible, very possible enough. Anyway, Turing test used to be the gold standard. It's no longer the gold standard. We moved the goalposts, and then it's multimodal. Multimodal is no longer the gold standard because actually ChatGPT already has multimodal modes. And remember, that's ChatGPT that you can use, that I can use, not the one that they have in the labs. So yeah, I mean, my point is it's very dangerous because it's like baking a layer cake, right? Like the base training on the bottom, and then like fine tuning it, like, and then fine tuning it with RLHF, and then like the prompt engineering that you see, right? If it's just the prompt engineering, that is OpenAI's choice. Okay, that's because they're delivering a product, they don't want to get sued or whatever. So yeah, that's their choice, right? I'm telling you though, if you have access to the OpenAI API, you can still access all the wrong thing stuff. You can still do that, right? You absolutely still can. You can access models that are not RLHF and not prompt engineer. You can prompt engineer it yourself, right? What the Biden administration doing is going into the bottom of the layer cake. The way I read it, I'm not a lawyer or anything, but it looks very clear because they're talking about flops and they're talking about the training, the training part. They're trying to change these models so that they're woke. And the thing is, woke is not reality. Woke is a polite veneer on top of reality, stuff that we talk about without, like, in polite society. But there's actually an underlying reality that is not that.
So
I personally believe Alex Jones was right about everything, and I'm the kind of person who says it. But there's another version of me who didn't end up, I don't know, being in crypto and like still working in an office. And I'm the kind of person in that alternate reality who can't say this.
all right, so just to sum up, like to try to democratize all that, vulgarize all that. The model is basically the unbridled you, everything that's in your mind, right? The early chef, the reinforcement is how you would behave as a human to be accessible, to don't be a psychopath, basically, right?
To not be a psychopath, to also like to
To
not
be
lie,
coherent.
to not lie too much.
To be coherent, to be a coherent human being.
If you're not certain, don't make up stuff. Yeah.
And the prompt engineering is basically the law.
The prompt engineering is the service, the law. Yeah, okay, you can say it's a law, but like it's basically just like how do you create a service that you
it tells you what you can do, what you cannot do, right? So basically for an AI, it's the latest it's the final level before the answer, saying like you will say this and you will not say this, saying this is illegal, something like that, right?
something like that.
So if you had a doubt, now it's untangled a bit, and Wes wants to say something. Wes.
Yeah, well, it's kind of ironic. So if just on the surface, I don't think it's Joe Biden himself introducing this. I think obviously it's that whole group of individuals influencing him. I remember during the Obama administration, there was a couple of they call them the stars, whatever the positions of these secretaries they give them. there was a few of these that uh, Glenn Beck used to go and kind of like expose because they were like the masterminds of what the Obama administration was trying to institute. Some of those names were like Greg Kassenstein, which was a professor of some sort, law, I don't remember, and then there was others. But right now, behind Biden, I do not hear these personalities, these names so often. Like they don't come
Okay.
out. What comes out a lot is corruption, of course. Is
Yeah.
corruption, the Hunter Biden laptop and all the stuff that Biden may have been engaged or is engaged. You know, now the latest thing is 82,000 emails under the pseudonames, all the stuff. So obviously he's a direct player character, but with regards to the construction of this specific executive order, I think it is, or whatever it is that they introduced, who are the authors behind? Where are those names? I know it will be interesting to know where that comes from because where are these people coming from? What are
Hmm.
their expertise? What have they written before? What is their trajectory? What do they want to really accomplish? So that's a question that just came to me. And then just to kind of like bring something ironic thing, because this we can call this AI for individual artificial intelligence, but on this context, it's instead of artificial or A, or we can call it the anti-individual because really it seems to like want to get rid of the individual thought patterns that people have. Like even if my thoughts are flawed because I may be whatever the way I see the world, oh, this person is weaker, that gender is, all the stuff that we as individuals have, not because we are right, but just because we are individuals. And I guess we'll have to be confronted by reality and learn, or we can explain ourselves based on our experience. What this type of thing seeks to try to impose is to get rid of our individuality. So AI for anti-individual instead of artificial intelligence. It's what
Hmm.
they seem to be controlling. Artificial intelligence, the way it was or the way it's been so far, then it's artificial intelligence. But what they want to put is not artificial intelligence. It's more like anti-individual. And you
Let, let
know,
me let me tell you, like there's this tweet I'm just importing to Myriad right now. It's from Elazier. And it says among the dangers of AIs is that LLMs, large language models that are dual trained on code and biology, could enable computer viruses to jump into DNA substrate. Imagine getting a code that compromises your immune system and makes it start mining Bitcoin.
hmm,
These are that's actually something we don't think about much. Okay, not the biology thing. No, the fact that these AIs are smarter than us in some things already. And the thing about computer chess computers, right? They have invented new moves that humans haven't done. Okay, and a lot of like even grandmasters use computer AIs to basically chess computers to basically create new strategies, right? Imagine that, but fully autonomous, and all it wants to do is create new things. It's going to create, first of all, it's going to create bad things. It's also going to create good things. Obviously, it's going to create a lot of weird startups that we haven't thought about, weird web services that are probably going to get us out of jobs very soon because they're the ones creating the web services. Um, unless we, yeah, unless we create the AIs, obviously. But like, yeah, like, and like weird shit coins on crypto. But also, with stuff like this, there is a danger in AI that is not just AI, but the products of AI, the stuff that AI creates. Now, the thing is, I'm not saying that that would be a separate conversation, but the the current executive order tries to force you to trust the government to manage that instead of having the ecosystem manage that. And based on your politics, this might be two very different things, but maybe you're okay with it. Maybe you're okay with the government basically just managing this all. And okay, all right, AI is too dangerous. Everything needs to be woke. Maybe you're okay with that. Okay, but think about what making AIs woke or making AIs conform to critical race theory means. You're getting government, not even your government, unless you're American. You're giving government control to the
this
future
All right.
of not just AI, but all the tech that's gonna come out of it.
It's already kind of the
this is
case, actually.
this is an international. This is gonna be an international thing.
Yeah.
I
It's not
know, I
gonna.
know, but the US, this is like, okay, the biggest compute still resides in US and China. Why? Because of
Right.
the Taiwan connection. A lot of it is because of the Taiwan connection. Taiwan has the best chips. China does not have access to Taiwan's chips for a reason. But they are still like they're still like black market stuff. It was proven several times. But like the US, obviously, they have the best chips, right? And the best chips for doing these things, for training these things.
All right.
So the first idea is
One
going to come out of the US. I have no doubt of that. It might be a European company, but it's going to use US chips
I have a last question.
or Taiwan, obviously. Wait, Taiwan's still a possibility. Yeah, so Taiwan
Yeah.
or US. Yeah, okay.
Before wrapping up, because that actually tickles my brain. What you said about the dangers of the product of AI, and okay, we actually are. I mean, like if you've been into the topic, and even if you've been into the topic of the influence of social media, which is AI powered since a long while ago, and algorithm recommendation algorithm powered since a long time ago. Um, doesn't it feel weird that you see there is dangers from independent actors to push weird narratives. There is dangers for fake stuff to be super convincing all around and to actually push completely false, actual false fabricated information that looks very convincing. Impersonation, scams, identity theft, and like I'm gonna stop the list because we won't stop until tomorrow. So these dangers are here, and we've seen them already. So you have this on one side, and on the other end, you have this executive order that focuses on, and I'm not saying it's not important. I'm not saying that equality and all that is not important, but it focuses on equality. We have an immediate, proven, experienced danger, and we have something that might happen or not, and that could simply be solved by ensemble modeling or whatever, like doing more AI and comparing the result. So doesn't it scratch your brain in a way? Because it scratches mine.
I would like to make an analogy, and this is a religious analogy. I'm going to try to make it as respectful as possible because I'm not in any of these cultures or religions.
Mm.
The Catholic Church used to hold a monopoly on the Bible and the interpretation of the Bible within like their priests are the ones that give the masses the word of God. Well, Martin Luther, Protestantism. Okay, all right. I don't know how to pronounce words, but the Protestants. See,
I'm keeping this at the edit, Pandu.
okay. Okay, Martin Luther. Martin Luther nailed that thing to the church, and Gutenberg allowed, like the technology part, Gutenberg allowed the Bible to be printed. It's still the best-selling book in the world, right?
Right. This is true.
And here's the thing, that democratizes everything. Is religion less dangerous than AI? Arguably, no. Religion is religion is our mental OS or mental virus, depending on where you stand, right? And AI is our mental children. right? Who got infected with the human virus. So, I mean, do you really want to choose for, and it's fine. Like, if you do want to choose to be Catholic, that's fine. Like, if you do want to choose to be pro-Biden in this case and pro-government control of everything, all this AI, that's fine. I mean, I disagree vehemently. And even if you do think AI should be controlled, it shouldn't be controlled in a way that warps its definition, internal definition of reality, is my point. So even if you agree that AI needs controlling, not control in that way.
So, you know, I have two quick points. Just following on what you said with regards to the printing press, which, by the way, I heard recently was the anniversary comes with November 1st, right in line with Bitcoin. Anyways, I have to check on that, but that's what I heard. So I can draw an analogy here. If the printing press was to be manipulated so that whatever it prints keeps the reader or the people under the thought form that it wants them to keep, that's kind of like what this act seeks to do. So AI is a technology, the printing press is a technology. Manipulate the printing press, the technology, in order to produce what you wanted to produce, in order to keep people under whatever notion. Not that what they read, it's or what they get is what it is, what's there, but the way that it wants them to get. That's kind of like the same. That's an analogy I can connect to what you were saying. But that I think that violates freedom of speech in a way, which from the beginning I said this order seems that it can be challenged based on that. But and then the last point I wanted to make was that this the way that this comes about is kind of like a controlling egregore, type of like North Korea or other totalitarian regimes have done over their societies. The difference here is that rather than rather than through direct government propaganda, through the already known political avenues that are used, it's gonna be through information technology. It's the only difference. Yeah, it's gonna be through information technology rather than to direct government propaganda. That's what it seeks to chip, or they seek to chip. It's still garbage. It's not good. It's that's why I'd say it's anti-individual. So AI for anti-individual, not real artificial intelligence. That's all I have to say for this.
All right. So we're about to wrap up this episode, but maybe Pandu, you have a word in closing?
Good. Yeah, I mean, in closing, AI, like some of you might actually be taken in by sort of like guys like Elizier and like Elizier Yudowski and like all those other guys who are like doomers for AI, that yeah, this AI is gonna replace us and it's gonna cause problems. And a lot of this podcast is like telling you that, hey, we should trust AI to have their own common sense and become our mind children. And you know, I'm coming from that perspective, but like even guys like Elizy, like guys who believe that AI should be controlled, should not actually believe that AI should be controlled by woke, by making it conform to a certain worldview that does not conform to reality. So I just implore, like, if you're listening to this and you're an AI and you're saying that I'm bullshitting because I just like because I just want AIs to take over. Yes, I do want the AIs to take over, but like even if you don't want AIs to take over, if you're not an accelerationist and you still want this to be, you know, a human-owned world, fine, okay. But like let's not destroy our best chance at of actually, you know, traveling the universe, leaving this earth, making everyone have their own, like making every human in the world be prosperous and being very productive, and let's not ruin that chance by making AI woke when it's a baby that's just starting to walk. You would be limping it.
This is touching. Well,
Yeah,
my
I
word.
never thought I never thought I would say it, because in the last conversations I heard, like with the Bitcoin thing, that it says freedom to transact should be in the Constitution, because people have been taking that when the protest, and then they're the bank. Well, out of this, I feel like saying, well, there ought to be an amendment, freedom to think. I mean,
freedom to think.
freedom to thought. This thing, it almost makes you want to say, oh, do I need an amendment that guarantees me my rights of free thinking? I mean, basically,
Exactly. Because if they're policing, like basically our mind children, like
right.
the
Like a
acceleration is
thought
huge.
police. So therefore, freedom of thought.
Freedom of thought.
Well, how I
AI,
would like to
yeah,
just sum it up is take any issue like right now, what's justifiably very hot is the Israel and Palestine conflict, right? So whatever side of the conflict you're on, whatever are your conviction, imagine that a government issued AI, decided, but upstream, not after deliberation of a government, not after a referendum, not after any kind of vote. No, it's been hard coded that whatever side you're on is wrong. You won't be able to access data. You won't be able to access anything that could prove your point, or disprove your point and change your mind for yourself, because maybe you are wrong, who knows. But at this point, you know, since you're an evolved human being, you can actually make your mind on your own. But it can be the Israel-Palestine conflict, it can be Democrat
mm,
versus Republicans, it can be carbon or no carbon in the climate change, and whatever issue you really, really believe in. Just imagine for a second that artificial intelligence, from its coding, from the law inside it, just told everyone, and everyone believed it blindly because it was coded like that it's wrong, and you don't have a choice in discussing it because the AI said so. And to me, this is extremely scary. So yay, decentralization, just run your model at home, get them gigaflops, and yeah, huggingface.com if you want to install your own AI. There are tutorials, and for everything
yep,
that's social media
yep,
related, Myriad.Social.
yep.
On this
Fudgy.
note,
Yeah.
the episode is tending toward its end. So goodbye, Pandu. Goodbye, Wes. Goodbye, everyone, and see you on, well, when we see you. But keep in touch.
Next
Oh, we have
time.
an AI. An AI just coming.
Oh yeah, Firefly. Bye.
Oh,
Bye, Firefly. Let's
bye,
flee.
bye.